Hey there, friends. Let me ask you something important. You're eating your veggies, right? Choosing the good stuff for your heart, your joints, your brain. You want to stay sharp, mobile, and full of life. But what if I told you that even the healthiest vegetables could secretly be doing more harm than good, all because of how you're storing them? If you're over 60, your immune system naturally isn't as strong as it used to be, according to the CDC, that makes you more vulnerable to food, borne illness and nutrient loss. And here's the shocker. Some vegetables lose their healing power in the fridge. Others, they can grow dangerous bacteria if left out too long. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 vegetables you should never refrigerate, and 3 you absolutely must keep cold to protect your health, energy, and independence. Stick with me until the end. This info could be a game changer for your body and your life. If you haven't already, tap that subscribe button and turn on the bell. I make videos just for you and I don't want you to miss a thing. If you find this helpful, drop a 1 in the comments, if not type 0, and tell me how I can do better. Let's dive in. 3 vegetables seniors should never refrigerate. 1. Garlic has been trusted for generations, not just for flavour, but for healing for many older adults. It's a daily ritual, a clove in soup, a few slices in a stir-fry, sometimes even taken raw, because they've heard it's good for the heart, for circulation, for the immune system. And the truth is, they're not wrong. Garlic is one of nature's most powerful tools for supporting the aging body. But there's one simple mistake that quietly strips garlic of nearly all its benefits: putting it in the refrigerator. Garlic is a dry, sturdy bulb. It's built to survive in cool, dry, and well-ventilated spaces, conditions that mimic where it grows underground. When you put it in the fridge, especially unpeeled, you create an environment that throws everything off the cold and moisture trigger, premature sprouting. And while a little green sprout might not look like a problem, what's happening inside is far more serious. That sprouting process starts to break down allicin in the compound responsible for most of garlic's healing power. Allicin is what gives garlic its anti-inflammatory strength, its cholesterol-lowering effects, and its immune-boosting properties. Once sprouting begins, those benefits weaken or disappear altogether. The garlic also changes in other ways. Its flavour becomes bitter. Its texture turns soft or rubbery, and worst of all, it becomes harder for your body to digest. As we age, our digestive systems grow more sensitive. What once was a soothing, healing food can now become irritating and less effective, simply because it was stored in the wrong place. But that's not where the risks end. A common habit among home cooks is to chop garlic and mix it with oil, storing the mixture in the fridge for convenience. While this may seem like a harmless shortcut, it can be dangerous without the right level of acidity or preservatives. Garlic in oil becomes a potential breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria that causes botulism. This is a rare but deadly illness that can lead to muscle paralysis or even death. For seniors with weakened immune systems, the danger is especially high. And here's what makes it so unsettling. These health risks don't come from eating unhealthy food. They come from trying to eat healthy food, just stored the wrong way. You're doing your best to support your heart, your joints, your energy, but when garlic loses its strength, your body loses one of its quiet protectors, and you don't even know it's happening. Thankfully, there's a simple fix. Garlic doesn't need refrigeration. In fact, it thrives without it. Keep whole garlic bulbs in a mesh bag, an open basket, or a ceramic garlic keeper. Anything that allows air to circulate. Store them in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight and moisture. Don't separate the cloves until you're ready to use them. Let garlic breathe and it will continue doing what it was meant to do. Protect your body from the inside out as we get older. Every bite matters. We need our food to do more than fill us up. It has to fuel our health support, our immune system, and ease the wear and tear that comes with aging. Garlic can still do all of that, but only if we treat it right, not as an afterthought, not as just another seasoning, but as a powerful natural remedy that deserves care and respect. Garlic isn't just a flavor, it's a form of protection. And when stored, right, it stays strong for you, meal after meal, year after year, but garlic isn't the only vegetable that suffers in the cold. The next one is sweet familiar and often misunderstood. And when it's refrigerated, it doesn't just lose its benefits. It could start working against you too. Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes often bring more than just nourishment to the table. They carry memories for many older adults. They're a symbol of comfort and care, baked in the oven, mashed with a little cinnamon or tucked into a hearty stew. They remind us of family dinners, holiday meals, and the warmth of home. But sweet potatoes aren't just emotionally nourishing. They're physically powerful too, rich in fiber, potassium, complex carbs, and beta-carotene. They help regulate blood sugar, support digestion, and fuel the body slowly and steadily for aging bodies that need gentle, sustained energy and support for heart health. Sweet potatoes are a gift. But what many people don't know is that storing them in the refrigerator, the place we assume is safest, can quietly undo those benefits. At first, it doesn't seem like a big deal. The fridge feels clean, protective, and dependable. But for sweet potatoes, cold temperatures are the enemy when kept in the fridge. The complex starches in sweet potatoes begin to convert into simple sugars. This isn't just a change in flavour, it's a change in chemistry. Because when those sugars are later exposed to high heat during baking or roasting, they can form a chemical compound called acrylamide. Multiple studies have linked acrylamide to an increased risk of cancer. It's not something you can taste or see, but it's there. And for older adults whose bodies are more vulnerable, it matters. A food that should be helping protect your health might now be putting silent strain on it, and it doesn't stop there. Cold temperatures also damage the cell structure of sweet potatoes. You may have seen it before, a strange, gritty texture, a darker interior, and a loss of that vibrant orange flesh. That's a sign the nutrients have started to break down beta-carotene, which plays a critical role in supporting eye health, and the immune system begins to fade. What used to be a powerhouse for your body is now weaker, less effective, less healing. Helen, a 68-year-old retired nurse, learned this. The hard way, she always kept her sweet potatoes in the fridge thinking it would keep them fresh longer. But over time, she noticed they didn't cook the same. The flesh was grainy, the flavour was off, and her blood sugar, which she managed carefully, began to fluctuate more than usual. It wasn't until her daughter, a dietitian, pointed out the problem that Helen realised the storage mistake she'd been making for years. The good news is it's easy to fix. Sweet potatoes don't belong in the fridge. They're meant to be stored in a cool, dark, dry place, like a pantry cupboard or even a paper bag on the counter. Away from heat sources, when stored properly, they stay firm, flavourful, and fully loaded with the nutrients your body still needs and deserves. They remain the supportive, healing food they were always meant to be. And that's the point. As we age, the little things matter more. How we eat, how we move, even how we store the foods we trust. Sweet potatoes should be a source of energy, balance, and strength, not something that puts hidden pressure on a body already doing its best. So take a look at your kitchen. Are your sweet potatoes in the right place? A simple switch can protect their power and protect your health too. And if you've ever noticed changes in how yours cook or taste, you're not alone. Have you ever stored sweet potatoes in the fridge? What happened when you did? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to know what worked for you. 3 onions. It's a simple fact that as we age, our immune systems grow more fragile, and the small choices we make in the kitchen start to matter more than ever. What we eat and how we store it can quietly shape our health over time. That's why something as ordinary as how you store an onion deserves a closer look for decades. Onions have been a staple in American kitchens, especially for seniors who cook from memory, who rely on routine and who often prepare meals not just for nutrition, but for comfort and connection. Onions add depth aroma and that familiar taste that makes a dish feel complete. But behind their familiar presence lies a storage mistake that many people make without even realizing it. Refrigeration at first glance, putting an onion in the fridge seems harmless, maybe even wise. You slice into one used half for a recipe, and the other half goes straight into the crisper. Or you store a whole bulb in the cold to keep it fresh. But this common habit slowly erodes what onions are meant to offer, especially for seniors who depend on their meals to nourish more than just hunger. Unlike leafy greens or berries, onions are naturally equipped to protect themselves. Their papery outer skin acts like armor, shielding them from moisture, light and spoilage, but only if they're stored in a dry, cool and ventilated place. The refrigerator, with its enclosed damp environment, works against this natural defense. As soon as an onion enters the cold, it begins absorbing moisture from the air. That moisture seeps into its layers, softening its once crisp texture. The flesh becomes mushy or slimy. The flavor dulls, turning from sharp and bright to sour or musty. And it's not just about the sensory experience. The breakdown in texture and flavor signals something deeper, nutrient loss. One of the key compounds in onions, quercetin, a powerful anti-inflammatory antioxidant, is sensitive to moisture and oxidation. A 2015 study published in the Journal of Food Science found that improperly stored onions lost significant levels of antioxidant activity, including quercetin, when exposed to cold and moisture. This matters because quercetin helps support cardiovascular health, reduce joint inflammation, and protect brain function. All essential for healthy aging. The risks don't end with the onion itself. Once cut, onions become even more vulnerable if left in the fridge. Uncovered or loosely wrapped, they can attract and breed bacteria in their dampened state. And for older adults with weaker immune systems, even mild exposure to spoilage bacteria can trigger digestive discomfort or low-level infections. It's the kind of thing that's easy to overlook until your stomach is off, or your energy dips and you can't quite figure out why. Susan, a 74-year-old widow from Ohio, used to refrigerate all her onions out of habit. She lived alone and cooked in small portions, so it made sense to her. But she began noticing that her soups tasted off, and she often felt bloated or sluggish after meals. It wasn't until her grandson, a culinary student, suggested she try storing onions differently that she made the change within weeks. Not only did her meals taste better, her digestion improved and she stopped feeling foggy in the afternoons. It was a small change, but for Susan, it had a real impact. Another hidden issue many overlook is odor transfer. Onions release sulfur compounds when chilled, and those compounds don't stay put. They drift into nearby foods, milk, butter, fruit, and affect the entire flavor profile of your refrigerator for seniors with a diminished sense of taste or smell. This can make eating even more confusing and less enjoyable, stripping the joy from one of life's most essential routines. Fortunately, the solution is as traditional as it is effective. Whole onions should be stored in a cool, dry, ventilated area like a wire basket. Open shelf or pantry, let them breathe. Avoid plastic bags which trap moisture, and don't separate the layers until you're ready to cook. When stored properly, onions retain their nutrients, their integrity, and their ability to support your health in the rhythm of everyday cooking. It's easy to overlook the details, but the details matter especially now. A small change in how you store a familiar food can mean more comfort, more clarity, and more strength in every meal you make. Coming up next, we'll explore the vegetables that must be kept cold, or they'll spoil fast, lose their power, and quietly threaten your health in ways you'd never expect. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here now. 3 vegetables you must keep cold or risk dangerous health effects. 1. Carrots, according to the USDA Carrots, are one of the most consumed vegetables in America. And for good reason, they're easy to prepare, affordable and loaded with nutrients that support healthy aging. For older adults, carrots offer more than just crunch and colour. They're a source of beta-carotene which the body converts to vitamin A, essential for vision, immune strength and skin health. They're also rich in fibre supporting digestion and helping regulate blood sugar. But these benefits only hold up if carrots are stored the way nature intended, and that means keeping them cold. Carrots might seem tough and shelf-stable, but they're surprisingly sensitive. Once harvested, left at room temperature, they begin to break down quickly. Their firm texture softens their bright orange colour, dulls, and the sugar and nutrient levels begin to shift. What looks like a harmless change on the outside is on the inside, a quiet loss of everything that made the carrot good for you in the first place. Temperature plays a critical role in how vegetables retain their nutrition, and carrots are no exception. A study published in Posh Vest Biology and Technology found that carrots stored at room temperature lost more than 60% of their vitamin C content within 5 days. That's not just a slight drop, it's a major loss for older adults who already absorb nutrients less efficiently when you leave carrots out. They may still be edible, but they're no longer nourishing you the way they should. Even more concerning is what happens when carrots are stored in warm, humid kitchen environments. The moisture from the air triggers condensation on the skin, which leads to bacterial growth over time. That moisture can invite pathogens like Listeria or E. coli, especially dangerous. For seniors with weaker immune defences, these bacteria may not always be visible. A carrot might still look safe to eat, but its surface could carry something far more harmful than it appears for someone younger, that might just cause a stomach ache for someone over 60. It can turn into days of discomfort or worse, hospitalisation. There's also a subtler danger that many overlook: the way spoiled or wilted carrots affect appetite. As people age, it's common to experience a natural decline in hunger meals, become smaller, and food has to work harder to be appealing. When carrots go limp or develop a strange odour or taste, they lose that appeal, and when food doesn't look fresh, it's easier to skip it entirely over time. This leads to missed nutrients, lower energy, and an increased risk of malnutrition, something that already affects nearly 1 in 4 older adults, according to the National Resource Centre on Nutrition and Aging. Fortunately, the fix is simple and effective. Keep your carrots in the refrigerator, ideally in the crisper drawer, where temperature and humidity are more controlled. Store them in a perforated plastic bag, or wrap them loosely in a damp paper towel and place them inside a produce bag. This keeps them firm, sweet, and full of the vitamins your body depends on. Avoid storing them near fruits like apples or pears, which release ethylene gas that can cause carrots to spoil more quickly. Carrots aren't just something to chop into a stew or snack on between meals. They're a form of natural medicine, helping protect your eyesight, stabilize your blood sugar, and keep your immune system strong, but only if they're kept in the environment. They need to thrive. Refrigeration isn't just about preserving food, it's about preserving your health. And when the smallest changes, like how you store a carrot, can either support or sabotage your well-being, those details are worth getting right. 2. Leafy greens. Have you ever noticed how quickly leafy greens seem to change one day? They're crisp, vibrant, and full of life. The next, they're wilted, soggy, and barely edible for many older adults. Leafy greens are a go-to choice not just because they're easy to chew or quick to prepare, but because they carry real health benefits. Spinach, kale, romaine, arugula. These aren't just salad fixings. They're packed with vitamins and antioxidants that support nearly every system in the aging body. They protect the heart, improve brain function, keep bones strong, and help the body detox naturally. But these benefits only exist when greens are stored with care And sadly, most people don't realize just how fragile these powerful vegetables really are. Leafy greens start losing their strength the moment they're harvested. Unlike root vegetables or hearty squashes, greens are delicate exposure to heat light and oxygen triggers. Rapid nutrient loss, especially for folate, vitamin K, and lutein. These aren't minor nutrients. Folate supports memory and mood. Vitamin K keeps blood clotting in balance. Lutein protects the eyes from age-related degeneration when greens are left out at room temperature. Especially in warm kitchens, those nutrients fade fast and worse. The moisture released as they wilt becomes a breeding ground for harmful bacteria. A 2017 study published in Food Control found that improper storage of leafy greens significantly increased the risk of contamination with E. coli and Listeria monocytogenes. These aren't distant threats. They've caused multiple foodborne illness outbreaks, in recent years often traced back to spinach and lettuce for seniors with weakened immune systems. Even a mild infection can become serious. What might be a stomach bug for someone in their 30s could lead to hospitalization for someone over 70. Marie, a 79-year-old former librarian from Vermont, learned this lesson the hard way. She had always kept her greens on the kitchen counter in a ceramic bowl. She liked the look of it and figured it was easier to grab them when cooking. But over time, she started noticing her salads didn't taste right. The leaves were limp, the colour dull, and she felt unusually tired after eating one evening. After a simple spinach salad, she ended up with severe nausea and dehydration. Her doctor traced it back to spoiled greens that had harboured bacteria. It was a wake-up call, not just about food safety, but about the silent power these everyday vegetables have, or lose, depending on how we treat them. When leafy greens are not stored properly, the price isn't just wasted food, it's a body that slowly becomes undernourished. It's a loss of strength, energy, and resilience. And for seniors who may already struggle with appetite or fatigue, it's another obstacle to eating well. Once greens stop looking fresh, they stop being appealing. And when meals no longer excite, it becomes easier to skip them, leading to missed nutrients and a weakened immune response. One small decline at a time. But the solution is simple. And within reach, leafy greens should be treated like medicine. In plant form, handled gently. Stored thoughtfully, they belong in the refrigerator, ideally in the crisper drawer where temperature and humidity are more stable. Wrap them in a dry paper towel to absorb excess moisture, and place them in a breathable bag to prevent suffocation. With just a little care, these greens stay fresh longer. Hold on to their vital nutrients and do exactly what they're meant to do. Help your body stay sharp, steady, and strong. Have you ever noticed a difference in how your greens taste or feel, depending on where you store them? It's often the smallest changes in the kitchen that create the biggest differences in our health. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting. Yes, below your thoughts matter. And I'd love to hear from you through broccoli. Broccoli might look hearty with its thick stalk and tightly packed feuettes, but it's surprisingly fragile once it leaves the cool, controlled environment of a farm or groceria. It begins to lose its strength, time, and temperature. Start working against it immediately when broccoli is left at room temperature. Its structure begins to break down quickly. The deep green colour fades to yellow. Its crisp texture softens, and the sulforaphane, one of the most important reasons for eating it in the first place, starts to degrade. That compound is especially sensitive to heat and exposure to air. Without the cool insulation of refrigeration, its levels can drop significantly in just a short time. And for older adults, that isn't just a nutritional issue. It's personal. Broccoli doesn't just support physical health. It protects systems that naturally weaken with age. Your immune function, digestion, bone, strength, and even cognitive clarity all benefit from the compounds packed into this one vegetable. But when broccoli sits out on a counter or kitchen table, especially in warm weather, those benefits quietly slip away, and the cost isn't always visible. At first, the flavour changes, becoming sharper and more bitter. The smell becomes stronger, almost sour for seniors who may already have a sensitive palate or reduced appetite. That alone can turn broccoli from a healthy habit into something they'd rather avoid. Harold, a 78-year-old widower from Minnesota, had always included broccoli. In his weekly meals, he believed in cooking for himself and took pride in staying active and independent. But over time, he noticed his favourite stir-fry didn't taste the same. The broccoli he bought from the market softened too fast. It smelled off. He started skipping it altogether. What he didn't realise was that leaving the broccoli out on his kitchen counter for a day or two, something he'd always done in the past, was making it spoil. Before it even reached the pan, when his daughter visited and saw his routine, she gently reminded him that broccoli needed to stay cold to keep its nutrients and flavour. That simple change, moving it into the crisper drawer, brought the colour and taste back to his meals. And more importantly, it brought those critical nutrients back into his diet. When broccoli is stored correctly, unwashed and loosely wrapped in a breathable produce bag, it keeps its strength. The texture stays crisp, the taste stays fresh, and the body continues to benefit. But when it's left out, even for a short time, what should be a superfood quickly becomes something that's hard to eat and easy to waste. And that's the real risk, not just spoiled food, but missed opportunities to support a body that needs all the help it can get. As we grow older, every small decision carries more weight. Broccoli isn't just another vegetable. It's a line of defense when it's treated right. It can help your body stay strong, your energy stay stable, and your mind stay clear, but only if it's kept in the cold, where its power can stay alive, ready to serve your health, one meal at a time. So what's sitting in your fridge right now? Maybe it's garlic that should be breathing on the counter, or broccoli that's already lost its power on the shelf. These little details matter more than we think, especially as we get older, because the truth is, every small choice you make in your kitchen is a chance to protect your health, your energy, your independence. And that's what this is really about, staying strong, sharp, and steady for the life you still have so much to enjoy. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Just start with awareness. Move one vegetable to where it belongs. Rethink one old habit and notice how those tiny changes start to ripple through. How you feel, how well you sleep, how clearly you think, how much energy you have to do the things you love. If this video gave you even one insight you can use, let that be your momentum. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell, and join this growing community of people who are choosing to age with intention, wisdom, and care. You deserve to feel good in your body, not someday, but today. So like this video, share it with someone you care about. And remember, food isn't just fuel. It's one of the most loving choices you make every single day. Thanks for watching, and here's to living well, storing smart and honouring the body. You've worked a lifetime to care.